FM News Talk 97.1.
On demand audio. You're listening to Allman in the Morning. Common Sense Radio.
Good morning, you bunch of drunks.
Yes. Survey says doctors choose Romney over Obama. Add doctors to the list of NFL quarterbacks who support Obama. That would be John Elway, who appeared with, did I say Obama? Romney. Doctors and quarterbacks. And a lot of other people out there struggling and who see in the forecast. Oh, and by the way, not only has Obama's economic policies failed and are they assassinating jobs and hurting the poor with their energy costs, Al-Qaeda is back. So, anything else you want to talk about in terms of why Obama should be reelected, really? Charles Krauthammer, the always reliable Charles Krauthammer, is on with Bill O'Reilly. And Krauthammer gave Romney a line that he needs to use in tomorrow's debate. It's a foreign policy line, so it might not come up. I think this is not the foreign policy debate, but still. I hope he uses it. Here you go.
We've got a new slogan for Biden, which is Bin Laden dead, Al-Qaeda alive.
Yeah. They spent that whole week. I sat there. Carl did too. That whole week boasting about killing Osama bin Laden. And then 2 weeks later, there's Al-Qaeda back again. Tan, rested, and ready. Unbelievable. What a shame. And by the way, did you see the latest, this CNN poll? And again, I'm going to have to take some time with this, and I guess I should do it at about 6:35 because the CNN poll is exhaustive and you need to hear about it. But part of that poll is showing that Biden and his unfavorability numbers are pretty high when you compare them to...
So what's the big deal here?
Paul Ryan. That Ryan, when you look at the numbers, is more well-liked than Biden is. Now, that could be because Biden has done more and been exposed more, and I get all that. There's a possibility that more people know about Ryan, the less they'll like him. I don't know. But that's apparently what the poll numbers on CNN are showing right now. Despite these poll numbers, we still get bias from the news media, and I realize the new narrative right now among some conservatives is stop talking about the biased news media. It doesn't matter. Well, it does, because a lot of independents and people who just really don't have a whole lot of investment of time and research and that kind of thing get their news from mainstream media. I always say that mainstream media to me is whatever newscast my mother is watching. My mom's not going to go to Hot Air. She's not going to go to the Huffington Post. She's not going to go to Crooks and Liars, any of these other websites, right wing or left wing. She's not going to do it. She gets her news from whatever drops out of the color teeny there in the mainstream. And she gets her news from ABC, CBS, or NBC. And, well, maybe, that's what's wrong, Jamie. You don't convince her. I'm not going to convince my mother to watch it. I'm not going to even waste valuable time talking to my mother about switching TV stations. She's not going to do it. So anyway, that's what it is. And so we get this kind of reporting when it comes. This is David Muir. Keep in mind, he's the guy who I called out last Thursday for this. So I call this a push report with Mitt Romney. Check this out. Number 10.
Romney trailing President Obama by 10 points here in Ohio, down by 9 points in Florida. And just before we came on the air tonight, we asked the governor about those numbers. I'm curious what you would say to some of your supporters tonight, your donors, who might be concerned that this could be slipping away.
This could be slipping away. I've even heard people call, which is absolutely untrue. You look at the poll numbers anywhere and how anybody could describe this election as slipping away for Romney. You have to have a political bias to come to that conclusion. So Muir was back again, this time on ABC, again. And here's what he had to say about polling.
But so much of it rests with the candidate. In the HBO film Game Change, strategist Nicole Wallace is depicted trying to help Sarah Palin prepare for interviews or debate and the national stage.
It wasn't my fault. I wasn't properly prepped.
You weren't properly prepped because you wouldn't listen to us.
You never listened to your advisor.
Takes you back, doesn't it? A lot at stake this time. President Obama looking to lock in his lead, and for Romney, many political...
Looking for Obama to lock in his lead. Is that not cheerleading on the part of ABC News to lock in his lead? How anybody could actually describe Obama's position right now as being a lead that could be locked in is beyond me. Just looking at the facts. Now, obviously, you can take a state-by-state swing poll and look at that and say that the lead is more demonstrative. But if you look at national polling, how you could call this a matter of locking in a lead is beyond me. Now, you also notice that they brought back Sarah Palin again. I guess because what they ran out of GW clips to run. So they bring back Sarah Palin again. In actually an exhaustive clip, by the way. There's a long clip from a movie that nobody saw that wound up disparaging Sarah Palin. So that's what you get for the media. And again, this makes a difference. Yeah, does it get exhaustive complaining about media bias? Yeah, but when you have it in front of you, when you see it clearly, it needs to be exposed. It needs to be, the light needs to be shed on this. And so I'm going to keep doing it. This is the guy was shot in the movie theater in Aurora. Did you see this? He came out, he's now in part of an anti-gun ad.
This past summer in a movie theater in Colorado, I was shot in the face.
Pause this for a second. This thing is actually shot in a movie theater. The PSA or whatever it is.
But I was lucky. In the next 4 years, 48,000 Americans won't be so lucky because they'll be murdered with guns in the next president's term. Enough to fill over 200 theaters. So when you watch the presidential debates, ask yourself, who has a plan to stop gun violence? Let's demand a plan. United Against the Legal Gun Support Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I'm interested to find out what kind of plan they have envisioned that would stop gun violence. Obviously, you're not going to be able to stop sickos. But if gun violence is tied to economic woes and people who simply want to rob things to get more money, I think Romney's got the plan, don't you?